Morning, good afternoon, good day to all participants. We will be starting in 1 minute. We're just allowing some time for participants to join the call. Okay, let's start. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I'm very pleased to welcome you for the first multi-stakeholder informative webinar on the 2026 UN Water Conference, which is being organized by UNDESA as the conference secretariat, together with the co-hosts of the conference, Senegal and the United Arab Emirates, UAE. My name is Nayara Costa. I am a Senior Sustainable Development Officer of the Outreach and Partnerships branch at the Division for Sustainable Development Goals of UNDESA, and I'll be facilitating this call today. Before we start, allow me to make a few housekeeping announcements. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and it's also being live streamed. The recording and all relevant information will be sent via email to all stakeholders registered to this event. Information will also be made available at the conference's website, so you can come back, you can review the slides and the presentation as needed. For our speakers, we would be grateful if you could keep your cameras open when you are speaking. And for all participants, if you are not speaking, please keep your microphones muted. If you are on X, former Twitter, you can tag us using @SustDev. If you have questions, comments, please use the Q&A box so you can ask the questions, or you can also upvote questions you would like to see addressed. We will make all the effort to address your questions during the webinar. Please make sure that you put your name, your organization, and the country when you're typing your questions. We also invite you to use the React button that you have on your Zoom, so we can also make this a very interactive webinar. So during the call, my colleagues will also be posting the relevant links on the chat box, so you can also access those. If there is any issue, just please flag on the chat and we will be making sure that you get the appropriate links. So let's take a look at the agenda for today's webinar. We'll start with some opening remarks from DESA, followed by interventions from our co-hosts, UAE and Senegal. Next, we'll feature a video message from the UN Secretary General's Special Envoy on Water. And then I'll be providing a very quick overview of stakeholder engagement opportunities and how can stakeholders participate in the 2026 UN Water Conference. We'll have a short Q&A and then we'll be closing this webinar. So before we start, we want to hear from you. We would like to invite you to join a Slido and to reply to a question. Have you attended the UN 2023 Water Conference? You can scan the QR code that is showing on your screen, or you can go to slido.com and enter the code #2742936. So slido.com, and then you can enter the code #2742936. So the question is, have you attended the UN 2023 Water Conference? We'll be giving you a couple of minutes so you can join the poll, and my colleagues are already featuring the results. Let me, okay. We'll give 2 more minutes for colleagues to respond. Okay, we have 185. Let's see if we can get 200 participants. Okay, great. Great. So we can see that the community remains really well mobilized since the conference. We are grateful to see those who came in 2023 reconnecting. And also we hope to see all those who are new, who have not joined in 2023. We hope that you can join us in 2026. So thank you all for joining the Slido, and we are gonna have a few more questions for you as we advance. So let's start with the welcome remarks. Let me invite my colleague, my dear colleague, Ms. Madhushi Chatterjee. She's the Chief of the Natural Resources and Interlinkages Branch in the Division for Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG, at UNDESA. And she also leads us on a number of substantive issues and also a lot of the logistics for this conference. Madhu, please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Naira. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from New York City. Excellencies, distinguished participants, it's my pleasure to welcome you and talk a little bit about this conference that we are all so excited to go to and to attend and participate and talk about SDG 6. What I'm going to do here is give you a brief update and kind of a brief overview on the 2026 Water Conference, which is, of course, going to build on what we have already accomplished at the 2023 UN Water Conference. So as you can see in the slide, the 2026 UN Water Conference will be on accelerating the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. The conference will focus on its support to the implementation of SDG 6 and will be held from 2 to 4 December 2026 in the United Arab Emirates. Please do go to the website. We have a lot of information there. Please visit it periodically because we will be regularly updating it. As Nayara mentioned, DESA is the secretariat of this conference, and it is my honor and pleasure to be working alongside UN Water on this conference as we move forward with preparatory events and the final show in the United Arab Emirates. So what does the UN 2026 Water Conference look like? The official program will have 7 plenary sessions. These plenary sessions will be devoted to heads of state, heads of government, and other member states' representatives to speak about their issues related to SDG 6. And of course, there will be UN system entities and stakeholders who will also be participating. Then we will have 6 interactive dialogues. And there are going to be, of course, other events, which are going to be side events and perhaps other special events, but these are yet to come. And of course, we'll be working very closely with our co-host UAE and Senegal to figure out these other events and other special events based on their ambitions and their aspirations for this conference. Next slide, please, Nara. You know, all UN conferences have outcomes. This conference also will have a summary of conference proceedings and a list of voluntary commitments by governments and all stakeholders. This is called the Water Action Agenda, which many of you are familiar with. The registry for voluntary commitments remains open on our website. And as we speak, many participants and outsiders and the entire public is registering their commitments, which we look at and then we publish. Next slide, please. We already have accomplished one key milestone towards the water conference, which was our organizational session, which was convened by our co-hosts, Senegal and UAE, on the 3rd of March, 2025, in the ECOSOC chamber at UN HQ. We had a very specific purpose for this organizational session, which was to begin the preparatory process for the conference as mandated in Resolution ARES 78/327. And this was held to make updated recommendations to the General Assembly on the themes of the interactive dialogues. There was a lot of enthusiasm around the conference, and as you can see, more than 4,000 people followed the discussions through UN Web TV, and we had 68 interventions. And again, for more information, please visit the dedicated website. Next slide, please. Now, on our website, we have many quotes from the dignitaries who were present and who took the floor. So again, if you are interested, please go ahead and look at these quotes. They're inspirational and they also lay the groundwork for the 2026 conference and our other preparatory process-related events. Next slide, please. I'll stop here now and over to you, Nayara. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Madhu, for opening the webinar, for the initial overview. And yes, again, colleagues, please, we invite you to check the website. Also, again, if you have questions, use the Q&A box, and you can always react as our speakers intervene as well. So now we're going to shift the focus and hear from the co-hosts of the 2026 UN Water Conference, the UAE and Senegal, because it's their vision and ambition that is already shaping this important event. Let me start by inviting His Excellency Mohammed Abu Shahab, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the United Arab Emirates to the United Nations in New York, for his intervention. Ambassador, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Costa. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I too wish to welcome you all to this first multi-stakeholder informative webinar on the 2026 UN Water Conference. This webinar takes place 2 weeks after the convening of the organizational session at the UN headquarters in New York, which marked the official kickoff of our journey to the 2026 Water Conference, a journey that we look forward to taking together towards bold, transformative, and lasting global action on water. We gather here today united by our unwavering commitment to water, the cornerstone of a more sustainable and resilient future for all. Water is central to our continued survival, growth, and prosperity for people and planet, connecting communities worldwide and fueling human dignity. The United Arab Emirates has a unique relationship with water, given our arid environment in one of the world's most water-scarce regions. Our acute understanding of the true value of water has fostered resourcefulness and ingenuity as we strive to live in balance with nature and sustain life while continuing to innovate and evolve to strengthen our water resilience. And though water has been elevated on the global agenda at the 2023 Water Conference and at COP28, we know there is much more work to be done. The UAE is committed to accelerating innovative and inclusive global water action through expanded knowledge sharing and international cooperation, harnessing the power of increased investment and scaling technological solutions for the benefit of all. We are truly honored to co-host the 2026 UN Water Conference in partnership with Senegal to accelerate the implementation of SDG 6 on ensuring the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Despite progress, almost 1 in 4 people worldwide lack access to clean drinking water, and 4 billion people still experience severe water scarcity for at least 1 month per year. No nation is immune to water stress that can exacerbate food security and public health, as well as economic and political stability. Ultimately, water is the key enabler to achieving the entire 2030 agenda, and SDG 6 is the linchpin to unlocking all 17 goals. Based on the last review of SDG 6 in 2023, we require a 6-fold increase in current global rates of progress on drinking water, a 5-fold increase for sanitation, and a 3-fold increase for hygiene to reach our 2030 targets. These alarming rates call for urgent, decisive, and coordinated global action. As co-hosts of the 2026 Water Conference, we see tremendous opportunity to bring the world together to enable collective progress on water. The UAE and Senegal invite and call on all stakeholders across the entire international community, including governments, international organizations, financing and investment actors, NGOs, civil society, academics, local communities, youth, and indigenous peoples, to join us in raising our collective ambition to accelerate global water action together. On the road to 2026, we will collaboratively lead on extensive and inclusive preparatory process to drive an impact-oriented conference. We started this consultation process gathering insights from numerous stakeholders since May of last year, and we're eager to continue building upon these conversations to inform the important preparatory work ahead. The organizational session held on 3 March at UNHQ represented the first mandated meeting in the lead-up to the conference. The session heard contributions from 72 participants, including 27 stakeholders, and was followed by over 4,000 people online. During the session, we listened to recommendations for the themes of the 6 interactive dialogues, and we look forward to continuing the consultations on the themes in the next few months. We will be using the stakeholder consultation that was launched on the UN Water Conference website last week as a critical source of input, so we urge you all to contribute to this platform. Looking ahead to next steps, our friends at UNDESA will share a background note capturing the summary of these consultations. This will be circulated ahead of one meeting convened by the President of the General Assembly, President Philemon Yang, on 9 July, where the themes will be adopted. Following the adoption of the themes, we will set our sights on identifying co-chairs for the interactive dialogues who will remain involved in the preparatory process, working collaboratively with all stakeholder groups in the lead up to the conference. We will aim to maintain momentum all the way to the upcoming high-level meeting in Dakar. Let me end here by thanking the international community for entrusting the UAE and Senegal to take this forward. We look forward to the 2026 Water Conference serving as an opportunity to have your voices heard and foster partnerships to increase aspirations, boundaries, to scale innovative, impactful solutions for all. Together, we can create global water action for the well-being of the planet and all its people. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ambassador, for joining us today, for reminding us of the urgency of the matter, and also for bringing the world together in the UAE next year, and also for sharing your vision. Let me now invite our other co-host, His Excellency Mr. Diamane Diome. He's Ambassador and Deputy Permanent Representative of Senegal to the United Nations, for his intervention. Ambassador Diome, please, you have the floor.
Thank you to all. I will say good morning, good afternoon, because I know we are all around the world gathered here today. Let me begin by thanking Ambassador Abu Shahab for the very strong collaboration we're having toward our UN Water Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, Senegal is delighted to be holding this webinar following the organizational session that officially launched the preparatory process for the 2026 UN United Nations Water Conference. This event marked an important step toward our common rendezvous in December 2026. Your mobilization, your ideas, your contribution will be central to the success of this conference. As you know, universal access to water and sanitation remain a major challenge for the world, and particularly for Africa. In 2023, the UN Water Conference re-established water as a global priority. Despite the progress made, needs are still growing and gaps persist in the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal 6. In this respect, Senegal and the United Arab Emirates are convinced that the 2026 conference must be one of action, concrete solutions, and accelerated commitments. It must also, and above all, be an inclusive platform where all players, government, civil society, the private sector, local communities, young people and women have their place. In this respect, we see the 2026 conference as a unique opportunity to rethink the way we work together around the water. Our shared ambition is first and foremost to accelerate the implementation of SDG 6, notably through strengthened partnership between government institutions, NGOs, private sector, and citizens. Second, innovative solutions, particularly to meet the challenges of climate change. And third, concrete, measurable commitment that go beyond declaration of intent. For this, the active involvement of stakeholders is essential, which is why this webinar is a key moment for laying the foundation together for an open, effective, and constructive dialogues. Senegal is convinced that sustainable water solutions can only emerge if the voice of all stakeholders are heard. We want the conference to be open, inclusive, and action-oriented. This means, among other things, fully involving civil society, indigenous peoples, young people, women in the preparation and holding of the conference. It's mean highlighting local experiences and best practices from the field, particularly from the most vulnerable communities. Finally, we must facilitate the acceleration and participation process, including for small organizations and players from the global south. Senegal fully supports the establishment of regular, structured consultation, interactive sessions, and dialogue platforms before and during the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by calling on all the stakeholders here today and beyond to mobilize. We need to turn ambition into action, commitment into concrete result for people in a spirit of international solidarity and shared responsibility. Senegal and the United Arab Emirates, as co-hosts of the 2026 conference, are fully committed to working with all partners to make this event an historic turning point in the fight for universal access to water and sanitation. We are counting on each and every one of you to support this momentum, to put forward bold ideas, and above all, to take action. We must ensure that in 2026, we celebrate new victories for water and show to the rest of the world that the right to water for all is finally a reality on this march. Thank you for your support.
Thank you so very much, Ambassador, for also sharing Senegal's perspective and for reinforcing the need and focus on action, concrete solutions, and the inclusive process. We will be working very closely with our co-hosts in developing additional processes and opportunities for stakeholders as we advance on the preparations for the conference. Thank you so much, very much again to both co-hosts. We are now moving, and we are very honored to share a video message from Mrs. Retno LP Marsudi. She is the very first UN Secretary General's Special Envoy on Water. So let's listen in. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, I'm glad to be able to take part in this preparation process leading to the organization of the UN Water Conference 2026. It is a vital step to listen to all your inputs and aspirations before determining the vision of the UN Water Conference 2026. I appreciate UNDESA and the co-hosts of the UN Water Conference in organizing this virtual multi-stakeholders engagement. Inclusivity and continuation are two of the key principles we must uphold in the preparation process of the conference. One, it must be inclusive to include all and to involve all, understanding that water affects all and water is everyone's business. And two, it must continue to engage multi-stakeholders, understanding that different actors will bring different expertise to contribute in the global collective efforts on water. Colleagues, anticipating the fruitful conversation and discussion we are having in the next hour, allow me to highlight several key points that are important to be applied as our mental note. First, we must aim for the conference to be a no ordinary conference. After the first UN Water Conference in 1977, the second in New York 2023, the UN Water Conference in 2026 served as a critical milestone. A milestone to bring power to be a high priority in global political agenda, to accelerate action on water, and to make changes on the ground. Therefore, I encourage all of us to give our best ideas and innovation in supporting our co-hosts in the preparation of the UN Water Conference 2026. Second, we must aim to have an action-oriented conference. Therefore, the conference must be built upon the strong commitments to make water actions and brings benefit to all people. Inspired by the statement delivered by water stakeholders in the recent organizational session in New York, we must use the conference to translate water moment into water movement. Last, we must use the preparation of the conference as an opportunity to foster collaborations. Colleagues and friends, I have been promoting for the use of AAA principle in advancing water agenda: advocacy, alignment, and acceleration of action. Today, allow me to give more emphasis on the alignment. Alignment plays a vital part. With the pressing reality on water, limited time and resources, alignment of action will ensure us to collaborate in making results and concrete impacts for the people and communities in need. Through the preparation and discussion, I encourage us to hear each other's stories and be inspired to work together for those in need: women, children, persons with disabilities, people living in rural areas, people living under poverty line, and all without exemption. I wish you all a fruitful discussion, and I thank you very much.
We are really grateful to the Special Envoy for her very powerful call to action on SDG 6, and also for her calls on the water moment, for the water movement. And we are really also grateful that you are all part of this as we prepare for the conference. So I will be taking over, duplicating my role as both facilitator, and I'm going to just share some additional information about stakeholder engagement opportunities and some latest developments for the UN Water Conference. But before I do so, it's again time to hear from you on Slido. So if you could, if you are there yet, if you're still on the Slido, or again, you can use the QR code, or you can go to slido.com and use the code hashtag 2742936. And please help us with this question. What can you contribute to the 2026 UN Water Conference and its preparatory process? So please join us on this Slido. This one is going to be also quick. So just a couple of minutes for colleagues to join, and my colleagues will also be showing the results very soon. So what can you contribute to the 2026 UN Water Conference and its preparatory process? So we can, colleagues, whenever we can, let's start showing the responses. Thank you. Okay. So I hope we can beat the 200 that we got in the very first round. Okay. Thank you so very much to all who are joining and contributing to the Slido as well. So when we get 200, I'll start reviewing the main topics. Okay, we just got there. Okay, so it is really interesting to see the diversity of the group that is with us and your very key role. We can see that raising public awareness and education is one of the topics that you will be contributing a lot, as well as your technical expertise and research, and also facilitating partnerships and collaboration across sectors. I can see some of you will be directly engaged in mobilizing financial support for stakeholder participation. This is really key and important. And sharing good practices on SDG implementation. And one encouragement that I will make, I hope the launching of a SDG 6 voluntary commitment can increase from now until December 2026, so we can have a big number of stakeholder commitments featured in 2026. Colleagues, thank you so very much for all who joined the Slido. Maybe we can now continue, and also to my colleagues for the very smooth transition. So the next one, please. So as I mentioned, DASA will be working very closely with the co-hosts of the conference, UAE and Senegal, as well as our colleagues from UN Water, and directly with you, stakeholders. When we talk about stakeholder engagement, we are usually considering two big lines. One is raising awareness and sharing information with you so you can plan your participation, you can follow the preparatory process, and you can contribute to the preparations for the conference. And the second one is working with you and with our partners in creating the space and providing opportunities for stakeholders to engage meaningfully to the preparatory process. We already have a dedicated tab at the conference website where information about stakeholder participation and all the updates are included. We really welcome you or invite you to join and visit regularly. As Madhu has mentioned in the very beginning, please visit the conference website very regularly because we keep updating as information becomes available. Next. On awareness raising, we already have an email list. If you might have reached us or joined this webinar because you received an email from that mailing list. We are going to be organizing virtual briefings, webinars, and as in the lead up to the conference. This is just the very first one, and that's why it's a more informative than interactive today. I mentioned that we have the page, and also we use our social media channels, UN Water media channels, as well as our partners to promote the conference as well. Next. We will be organizing global online stakeholder consultations, and I'm going to be sharing details very soon. We will be encouraging stakeholders to share your commitments and be part of the Water Action Agenda. A very important process is facilitating the process for special accreditation of NGOs and other stakeholders to attend the conference. More coming soon on this. Also guiding you on opportunities for side events. And as the UNE ambassador mentioned earlier, we will be facilitating your participation during the 9 July meeting to be convened by the president of the GA. Details about that meeting, when they become available, also will be posted to the conference website, okay? So we want to invite you. As of now, we have a global online stakeholder consultation open. It goes until 11 April 2025. And the focus is on the themes of the interactive dialogues. So there'll be 6 interactive dialogues happening during the conference. So if you want to shape, if you want to influence the topics, the themes that member states will be discussing during the conference, please engage with the consultation. Share it broadly with your networks and leave your messages. There will be additional conferences as we advance, but we truly encourage you to join the very first one and you know, give us or guide us on the themes that need to be part of the main program of the conference. So my colleagues are sharing the links. They are sharing all the details on the chat box as well. Then a question, and I could see that it's already coming on the chat box or the Q&A, is who can attend the 2026 UN Water Conference? So we are bounded by the resolution, the UN General Assembly resolution that tells us how the conference should be organized. You have the symbol of this resolution mentioned in the slide. It's the resolution 78/327. So, and stakeholders from different sectors are welcome and invited to join the conference. NGOs, CSOs, academic institutions, the scientific community, private sector, philanthropic organizations, and other relevant stakeholders can join the conference. Now, next one, please. So we have a process called the special accreditation. There is the first round is now open. Deadline is the 21st of March. Special accreditation talks about the organization. It's the organization that will be able to register participants to attend the conference. Please remember that we had a large number of organizations that were accredited for the 2023 conference and other conferences as well. So before, how do you know, can I attend? Is my organization available, or can they join the conference? So you go to the stakeholder page, the details are all there. Is your organization in consultative status with ECOSOC, you don't need to apply for special accreditation. You wait, and you are going to be able to register the participants to attend the event. If your organization has been accredited in 2023 or to all the other conferences, we have a long list of other conferences that also are pre-accredited. You don't need to request special accreditation. So please do check before you engage on the special accreditation process so you don't duplicate the efforts. If you check the lists, you cannot see the name of your organization, you must apply for special accreditation if you want to attend the conference. The first round closes in 21st of March. Please don't worry if you don't have time to provide all the documents. There will be another round in early 2026. And if you know of other partners or organizations that are interested, they can also join. Roster, everyone who is in a roster, general, special status with ECOSOC, they can all attend, register to attend the conference. So be mindful if you are applying for special accreditation, you need to collect a number of documents. Proof of legal status, you need an official letter from the head of organization, and there will be a number of other documents that are requested. This process is led by our colleagues in the UN Non-Governmental Liaison Office, UNNGLS, which belongs to the Department of Global Communication. And they also have a very good channel to communicate with interested participants. One thing to be mindful about the special accreditation is that we compile a list. The list is sent to the President of the General Assembly, and member states, they review the list, and they are the ones who approve or object to organizations. So this is part of the process. All those details are also available online, and all the details will be, as we move with the process, we also keep updating the website. Next. So I think that will be it for, more like on the presentation side. And so let me encourage all of you, before we go to the Slido, use the Q&A so you can vote and outvote on questions, because we might not have time to go over all the questions today, but we are taking notes and we want to address some of those, the ones that receive more votes. And so before we open the Q&A, can we go back to the Slido? Again, you have the QR code. If not, slido.com, using the code #2742936. And the final question is, what are your main expectations for the 2026 UN Water Conference and its preparatory process? You will see that this one is an open question. So we want to hear from you, your views, and and my colleagues will start showing the results very soon. So please, what are your main expectations for the 2026 UN Water Conference and its preparatory process? Okay. I'll give you a few minutes. So I want to see if we can also reach 200 as we did for the other questions. We are almost at 200. Good. Good. Thank you so much, colleagues. And please continue adding your inputs. I see that we still have 20 participants typing. Yeah, do not give up. Please keep adding. And so we can see, I mean, how much aligned stakeholders they are also with the co-hosts and the message we received from the envoy. And the call, we can see that the word that came more strongly is action, followed by water action and collaboration. And this idea of inclusivity, opportunities to engage, innovation, results, and a real outcome. We can see, we hear you, we read you, we can see where the energy is going. We thank you all. Thank you so much. We are going to be using this screenshot as we advance in the preparations. And thank you so very much for all the reactions. We appreciate that. Colleagues, we have a few minutes. So to go over some of your questions, I can see, please check. You can vote, outvote. I'm going to go over a few, and then we are going to be closing the webinar. So we have a few questions on what ways are being considered in the run-up and during the conference to ensure that the participation of non-state actors is effective and goes beyond mere comments. One thing that is very clear from the mandate we are getting from the resolution, as well as the leadership from the co-hosts, is that we need to shape very meaningful processes. One thing that I want to invite you is also to review the impact report of the stakeholder engagement that relates to the 2023 UN Water Conference. So this is our baseline, and it was one of the most inclusive conferences we had, and we will be working from that as the baseline and hoping to increase opportunities. All the processes, they are aligned, or they are devised aligned with the intergovernmental consultation. So for instance, the online consultation is very much aligned with the discussions that member states are having on the themes. So you have an opportunity to provide your comments, are the comments that are going to be considered also in the process. And we will be working with the co-hosts and promoting additional opportunities. I have questions about academic institutions, if they were accredited before for the 2023 conference, if you need to run again for accreditation. No, you don't. What I really, but please check the lists that we have in the website. Make sure you see your organization there. If you cannot see your organization there, if there is any issue, I'll be asking my colleagues to share the email that we have, a dedicated email for the water conference. We'll be tracking it regularly. So if you have specific questions, we will be addressing that as well. I see that we have a few questions that relate to the water action agenda. If you have specific questions or issues with the water action agenda, I'll be asking you to please send an email to the water2026@un.org, so we can also forward to my colleagues who are managing that platform, and they can check and follow up directly with you. I'm seeing again, colleagues, so what happens for those of you who are accredited, what happens next for the meeting in July and also for the conference itself? When the time comes, there will be a registration process. All those details, how many participants can my organization register, and when is the registration, all this information will be posted online, and we will be sharing that with you when the time comes. You know, this is still quite early for those details to be made available, but we will be promoting, and we will have additional webinars where we can share more with you and make sure that we are, you know, all on the same page as well. So let me just see. On financial support, we hope that we will have some support to travel stakeholders, but usually this is very limited, or sometimes it doesn't happen. So participants should mobilize their own travel support to come to the conference. And this is something that you might want to start very soon, so you can be there and join and contribute to the conference. I see a question about when the accreditation process will be over. This first round might be done by end of April. It depends very much also on the timing of member states in reviewing the list, but all those details will be posted online. I see there is a question about virtual side events during the conference. Yes, we foresee virtual side events as part of the conference. We will be discussing all those details with the co-hosts and making information available when the time comes, right? Let me see. So, yes, and I can see already the energy about side events. This is great. So when the time comes, accredited why is it so important to be accredited? Because only accredited organizations can request and submit proposals for side events or be considered to host side events. And also they are the ones who can register participants to be inside the conference compound. So, and I'm seeing colleagues are asking the lists of previously accredited organizations. I'm just asking if my colleagues could post again the tab, dedicated tab for stakeholders, participants, so they can check the information. So colleagues, I think this might be it for the Q&A. We are taking notes of all your questions. We'll soon have a FAQ available on the chat on the website. Please, again, keep an eye on that. Join the conference, the online consultation. This is a key moment for your contribution. We are just starting this process, and we will be creating additional spaces to hear from you as we advance. I want to take this opportunity to thank the ambassadors from the UAE and Senegal for joining us today, and their colleagues. They are behind the scenes, but they are great support. They push us, they engage, and they collaborate as we design this process. To my DESA colleagues, Madhu, Stephanie, Leneke, and Mav, and others who are behind the scenes as well. Thank you so very much. And to all our attendees, I think we might have reached the capacity of our Zoom, so we need a bigger Zoom for the next one. And we hope to see you soon. All the information will be posted online soon. So let me thank you all for joining today. And this webinar is now closed. Thank you.